Hello again, fifth graders. We are looking at TEKS, apply mathematics to problems arising in everyday life, society, and workplace, as well as representing and solving multi-step problems involving four operations with whole numbers and where X represents an unknown number. So what we're going to be doing is refreshing. We're going to play a whole class game that's going to refresh our knowledge of the lesson we learned yesterday about budgeting. So first, what if you were a teacher, you would say, let's go over those vocabulary words. A budget is a monthly spending plan based on how much money you make in a month. Your expenses are what you spend on bills and necessities from your one paycheck that's supposed to last until you get your next paycheck. And salary is how much money a person makes in 1 year. I forgot to introduce this game. This game is called Another Life. Students are basically going to be grabbing information cards that are going to give they're going to work in pairs, each pair information about their new life. All you need a lot. You need paper and pencil. You need one index card containing information about a character's life for each pair of students. I have here, these are some things that you want to have just like posted on the board or big in the classroom where everyone could see them, so that during the course of the game, they can remember what they need to do and where things go. So because this is a game for fifth graders, I'm not going to model the game for them. I'm going to give them a basic idea. I'm going to do two small examples, which if I have time, I will do them here. And I have 10-step plan. Step 1, step 2, all the way to 10 for what you're supposed to do. So the kids in pairs can answer the questions for themselves. They're going to have to figure it out how to do it. And that's why I have them working in pairs, so that they have someone else they can talk to and communicate with while they're doing the game. So I'm going to go over those materials again. Each person needs to have paper and a pencil. While they're looking over their budget and everything, I want them to be writing out math, each person, for where they're thinking, what they're going to be doing, and stuff like that. All that is explained here in my 10-step plan. So you want to have paper and pencil, one card for each pair of students, the plan, which is your 10-step instructions that the students are going to read. I have a cost of bills per month list. So students will read the information they have on here, and based off of that, they will have to look here and calculate and make decisions. And by make decisions, I mean, do you want to pay for childcare? Can you afford that? Do you want to have the high cost insurance that gives you better coverage, or the low cost insurance that gives you some coverage, but if you can't afford the higher coverage? Also, I've got phones. It is a certain number for each phone line, and then you have to multiply that times however many phone lines you're going to have. So if you have a bunch of teenagers in your list, look out, because you're going to probably have to add up a lot of phone bills. So this is your cost of bills list that you will also need for your instructions. And my personal favorite, the Spice of Life dice. This is in Rewind. So basically, once they get their partner, they get their card, they find a space to work, and they go and get started. Because at this point, I will have already given them their examples. They're going to find their monthly income, which on their index card is listed their salary, their yearly salary. So they're gonna have to use math to divide that by 12 to find out how much they make in 1 month. Then you're going to talk with your partner and figure out, how many people do I have in my family? Do I have to pay for pet food? And look at your cost of bills, and basically you're going to write an equation for each one of those. Like I said, I had planned for this to be a long game intro where we would do the whole game and I would do the whole lesson. So if this sounds a bit jumbled, I apologize. But I promise I really did think this out thoroughly. So once they go through all the steps and they have finalized their budget, they're going to come to my table where I'm going to sign off on it. Before they walk away and leave, they're going to roll the Spice of Life dice. This basically has general life events that can either raise your salary or how much money you have at that point in time, or it will add to your bills, so you have to pay even more money. So this one says, go to the movies, pay $15 for every adult and $8 for every child or student in your house to see the movie. I was gonna have a few of these cards have students where they're gonna be working and also paying for student loans. This says, congrats on your raise. Add $12,200 to your annual salary. So they would have to be careful not to add this to their monthly pay, but to add it to their salary and then recalculate. So basically, your car breaks down. Great Uncle Murph passed away, inherit $5,000. Congrats, you had a baby. Pay $500 for new baby expenses. Things like that can actually happen in your life that can throw a curveball into your budgets and your planning. That's why it's called the Spice of Life, because sometimes it's a little too spicy, sometimes it's just right. So there is a blank, basically paper with, it looks like a T that's made out of 6 squares, and you can write whatever you want in here. I originally thought of having 1 dice that's plus to your money and 1 dice that's a add to your expenses. But I figured I would just do 1 for today. And do you think I should go over my example for how we're going to do the cost of bills equations, or do you think that this is enough to sell you on the game?
I mean, you can go 1 example.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I mean,
you're basically, this would be like a whole, like 45-minute, even more maybe,
right.
game where students would literally go through their whole life.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite part. After each person has, or each group has finished, they will look for another group that has finished and ask each other questions like, what parts were difficult or easy about making your own budget? Why or why not did you include childcare? Did you think your characters, so if you had 2 people with 2 different index cards, do you think both of these characters would live in the same neighborhood? Why or why not? Things like that, just to sort of open a dialogue about what it's really like to, even in a simulated situation, create a budget. So here's for my example. Here it says, excuse me, personal upkeep right here. So your personal upkeep is $30 for a 1-person household. And then you're going to add $5 for each person more than 2. So personal upkeep is things like toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, a new toothbrush, things like that. So what I'm going to do on my work paper here is write personal upkeep, $30. Then it says add $5 for each person over 2. Okay, so this man Barry Bright, he has a family of 5. So I'm gonna write here, fam equals 5. So if you have a household that's just you and your kid or you and your partner, that's only 2 people. So you would only pay your $30. But since Barry is in a family of 5, he's gonna do $30 for him and his mom, who he lives with, plus there are 3 numbers more than 2 and 5. I know I can explain that better, but did that make sense? So then you're gonna do plus 5 times, or wait, excuse me, x times 5. So this is the equation that's going to help you figure out your what's it called? Your personal upkeep expense. So after you write your equation like this, you would then move on to a next expense, because I don't want you to have to solve and do all that math yet. I want you to go and make an equation for each one. So right here, we have gas. It says $50 per car, right? So here I'm gonna write gas, $50 per car. Barry here only has 1 car. So X equals 50. But if you were to have 2 cars, you would do 2x equals 50, or would it be x equals 50 times 2?
Yeah, you can have that way too. You can write it like 2 different ways. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, then basically after you've gotten your equation for each bill, whether it's just x equals or 30 plus x times 5, you're going to go through and plug in your numbers for x. So I finished writing all my equations. I'm ready to solve for how much my personal upkeep is going to cost. So like I said here, we've got 30 plus, instead of using x, I'm going to use the 3, because his family has 2 people plus 3 people equals his whole family, right? So I'm sorry, I'm saying too many words. $5 for every person more than 2 in your family. So in this spot, we're going to plug in the 3. 30 plus 3 times 5 equals x. So now x stands for our personal upkeep. So then you would solve. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 30 equals $45. So then after you finally have this final number, boop, 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 you would go over to your budget and write personal upkeep like this, and then you would write $45. So eventually you will have your amount for gas, for utilities, gas for your car, for utilities, for pet food, for groceries. You're going to have that total up over here. You're going to add it all up and find out how much your budget is. I think this has the potential to be a really cool activity or game for kids, especially when kids are like, how would I even use this in real life? Here you go. Also, I love the spice of life. I think you could really get creative with this. Also, if you wanted to really advance it, you could put, instead of saying Barry Bright makes $56,000 a year, you could say he's a garbage man. He
Mm.
rides a garbage truck. The pair of students can have a tablet or a laptop where they do actual research and look up
Mm.
what's the average pay for a garbage man in my state or in my town. And then they can, that's just a whole nother aspect of it. But there you go. That is the game called Another Life.
That was pretty fun. I actually found it fun